Our group is going to discuss the topic of local food production and consumption. The term local food refers to food grown in or near one's community rather than imported from elsewhere. Proponents of local food try to minimize the distance between the food source and the consumer's plate. There are numerous benefits of utilizing locally grown ingredients. Consumers turn to local food as a healthier alternative to cheaper, lesser quality ingredients churned out in factories. Buying local foods is a more sustainable practice as it cuts down on the transportation and packaging that goes into importing foods from farther away. From an economic perspective, buying from farms in the area feeds back into the local economy, helping the community to thrive. Buying locally also supports local culture. Food from fast food restaurants is stripped of its culture in a way, as the emphasis is taken away from culture and the origin of the ingredients and instead placed on the quickness with which it can be prepared and consumed. Local food production preserves the culture of the food, as consumers can easily find out exactly where the ingredients came from and who produced it. Protecting the culture of food is one of the main priorities for the slow food movement, founded by Carlo Petrini. The slow food movement promotes local food production as a good, clean, and fair alternative to mass-produced food. With all this in mind, what our group particularly wants to focus on is the prevalence of local food production in restaurants on Penn's campus. College students with jam-packed schedules often develop a tendency to eat what is fast and most readily available. For students on the go, healthy food may not necessarily be a priority, and fast food with highly processed, standardized, and pre-cooked ingredients seems like a viable option. However, as the slow food movement takes hold within restaurants on Penn's campus, more sustainable options are becoming available for students. Our group is going to take a closer look at a couple of these restaurants and examine their use of local food resources. We will then consider the success of local food production at Penn in terms of how receptive Penn students are to the globalization of on-campus restaurants.
A difficult challenge as a Penn student, most of whom have had meals prepared for them for their entire lives, is figuring out where to get food on a daily basis, as college is really the first time that many are purchasing and acquiring their own meals. It is often the case that students eat what is most convenient, and somewhat disregard the quality of food for a variety of reasons. First, college students on average have less money, so naturally we are drawn to cheaper alternatives. This can lead to poor eating habits, as cheaper food is typically lower quality and more often than not tends to be unhealthy. Furthermore, living the American college lifestyle is extremely hectic, with classes, extracurriculars, social events, and more. There is little time to spend eating meals. Large portions of students grab lunch on the go to possibly eat during class or sometimes even on the walk to class. As we have learned in our class and through our readings, this rush manner of eating is indicative of American culture and occurs far less frequently in other countries such as in Europe. In other countries, there is a far more emphasis on eating a full, slower meal with a premium on sharing the experience with other people. This rush manner of eating causes students to lose track of what they are actually putting in their bodies and is quite characteristic of American culture. To cater to these needs, many of the eateries on campus provide these lower price point, quicker options. As a result of this, for a very long period of time, the popular eateries on campus were predominantly globalized chains such as McDonald's, Subway, Qdoba, and many more. These chains, which are found all over the world, focus on churning out as many quick, cheap meals as possible. Due to this mass selling and globalized identity, the focus is not on the food, and thus the quality suffers. Having been on campus for 4 years at this point, I can safely say that the tide is shifting away from the globalized eatery dominance to a more localized one, as we've discussed in class. Now, there are dozens of restaurants that emphasize high quality, organic, and local ingredients. As students become more conscious of the foods that they put in their body, they've started to favor these types of eateries. Even chains such as Sweet Green, a salad bar located on 39th and Walnut, with stores in many cities across the country, puts a huge emphasis on their locally grown ingredients. In fact, a lot of their popularity is derived from the fact that they are able to offer a somewhat low-cost salad filled with the best quality local ingredients. Students know that what they are getting at a place like Sweet Green or other locally focused eateries is a high quality meal that is good for them, and as a result, these types of restaurants that focus on such globalization have seen a lot of success. My teammates will now discuss in detail two popular eateries on Penn's campus with this local focus. First, we will discuss Sweet Green, which I alluded to earlier, and then we will discuss T-Bowl, a popular Asian rice bowl eatery located also on Penn's campus.
Sweet Green, which opened on Penn's campus late last year, is probably most prominently known for its local food initiatives. A build-it-yourself salad bar and frozen yogurt store, Sweet Green boasts locations all over the East Coast. On campus, Sweet Green is located west of 39th Street on Walnut. Sweet Green's philosophy is to source local and organic ingredients from farmers that they know and to leave a gentle footprint in order to protect the planet. With the purpose of making sure the restaurant knows where its food is coming from, Sweet Green gets the bulk of its produce from 4 farms in Pennsylvania. Sweet Green truly has the freshest ingredients. All its protein is hormone-free, antibiotic-free, and all natural. Nothing is frozen or processed. And they even change their offerings seasonally to make sure the customers are getting what's fresh and healthy at the moment. Their October salad now includes locally grown apples and delicious candied walnuts. But Sweet Green's food is not only what makes it so special. Their entire experience at Sweet Green is about being environmentally friendly. Sweet Green's packaging is 100% compostable. They compost all of their food scraps, and some of the buildings even have solar paneling on the roof. They even use recyclable decorations in the restaurant. According to Jeff, Sweet Green's manager, students have been very receptive to the local food movement, and the restaurant itself has been extremely successful. He even mentioned how many students he has on a daily basis just coming up and asking questions to better understand the importance of organic, sustainable, and local foods. He didn't believe, though, that it's a Penn-specific phenomenon. According to him, all of the Sweet Greens that are located on college campuses are seeing this devotion and interest in changing, food habits. Personally, I'm more likely to get a salad from Sweet Green than anywhere else on campus. I love the restaurant, both for how delicious its food is and for its admirable initiatives.
T-Bowl is an Asian-inspired casual restaurant located on 3716 Spruce Street. T-Bowl is one of the newest restaurants to open on Penn's campus, having opened last year. T-Bowl replaced the struggling Taglio, which served pizza by the cut. The opening of both T-Bowl and Sweet Green last spring shows that restaurant owners are starting to notice that Penn students desire healthier, locally grown alternatives. T-Bowl is owned by the Avanti Food Corporation, which also owns Gio Pronto further down the street. The founder and CEO of Avanti Food Corporation is Marco Lentini, who is also a Penn alumnus. He prizes on using only quality ingredients in his restaurants. Both of his restaurants feature signs that emphasize this mission. Inside T-Bowl, the green walls, wooden decor, and carefully placed plants make it look as organic as the menu. Everything from the organic grilled tofu to the organic brown rice is 100% natural. The ingredients have no preservatives, and the sign promises that none of the food is fried. Just as Gio Pronto features build-your-own salad bowls, T-Bowl allows its customers to choose from a wide variety of meats and greens to add into its rice bowls. Marco Lentini told me that people are willing to pay a premium for his food. While there certainly are cheaper alternatives available, eating healthy is something that college students want to do, and T-Bowl and Gio Pronto let them do that. By being able to customize and choose from a healthy array of options, customers know exactly what they're eating. As Jordan mentioned, customized food takes much longer than the mass-produced food that comes out of McDonald's and KFC. Therefore, meals at T-Bowl don't come cheap. A rice bowl with chicken and a few vegetables can easily run up to $15. However, T-Bowl always seems to be busy. In terms of sustainability, Lentini told me he gets the majority of food from local farms in Pennsylvania. He told me that this is a win-win for his business. Not only the ingredients are fresh and of high quality, he also takes pride in helping the environment and local farmers by buying locally. T-Bowl doesn't just sell rice bowl, and it's 100% frozen yogurt. It is also home to Boba Bros, which sells bubble tea. Boba Bros was started by Arthur Kwan, who's a junior in the college. He said he chose to work with Marco Lentini because he is a strong believer in Lentini's vision of fresh, locally produced ingredients. In addition, both restaurants, T-Bowl and Giabranato, are unique that they are called Asian and Italian restaurants. However, they are very far from the traditional Italian and Asian food that comes to mind. Lentini says he likes to put a unique spin on his food. The contrast couldn't be further, as T-Bowl sits right next to Beijing, which is one of the oldest Chinese restaurants on Penn's campus. One serves customized T-Bowls with organic ingredients and sauces such as lemon goddess. The other one serves kung pao chicken and fried rice. Their menus look a world apart. Lentini's restaurants show how Americans have made Italian and Asian food their own, just as Pascal does in The Big Night.
With all this information, our group wanted to look at the perspectives of Penn students regarding the use of local foods in restaurants. Are they aware of the fact that Sweetgreen and T-Bowl use local foods? If so, does it affect their decisions regarding where to eat? So from interviewing several students and also adding my own personal preference, I found that there are a lot of people who are aware of the fact that Sweetgreen and T-Bowl do indeed use local foods. Usually they garner such information from the fact that the two restaurants heavily advertise that specific point. In turn, when asked about whether that plays any role on the preference of where to eat, many students said that it did. There were, however, two interviewees that noted that to them, locally grown food equaled higher prices. And as college students, though the initiative is appreciated, the assumption of the extra price burden offsets the desire to frequent the restaurants. However, others mentioned that because Sweetgreen was not particularly more expensive than other places on campus, it was worth paying a little extra for higher quality ingredients. Some even noted that to them, locally grown foods registers as healthy food. This is a big difference from when I entered Penn campus my freshman year, in which cheapest was best. Though it is too early to say that this is the overarching belief of students at Penn, I personally see a notable difference over just a few years. As such, the majority of interviewees did state that they greatly appreciated the initiative taken by Sweetgreen and T-Bowl for using locally grown foods, which is a successful example of globalization. As my teammate Jordan mentioned, we see a continuation of the discussions we've had in class regarding the culture of eating. Students come from all different backgrounds, and so their reception of local foods and the slow food movement varies. But on looking at the general American way of relating to food, we see that other considerations have priority over the quality of ingredients, whether it be cost, the speed at which the food is prepared, served, eaten. And still, a majority of students often choose, food trucks, something quick over sit-down restaurants, because they are in a rush to get to classes. However, as more restaurants in Philadelphia are joining in this globalizing initiative, we do see that there is an optimistic trend towards students and local residents becoming more aware and appreciative of the fact that restaurants are using local foods and the effects of our food selection on the larger community as a whole.
The manner in which Americans consume their food is very different from the customs of Europeans and other cultures. This difference is perhaps most pronounced among American college students. As we stated earlier, many American college students are procuring their own meals for the first time. Because of our hectic schedules and often tight budgets, we tend to settle for the cheapest, quickest options, without regard for our food's morphology or syntax. Over the past few years, however, there has been a shift towards globalization at Penn and on other college campuses. Restaurants such as Sweetgreen, T-Bowl, White Dog, and others provide healthy alternatives with fresh ingredients from local farmers. These restaurants have done very well with students who care about global sustainability and those concerned with the healthiness of their personal diets, two populations that often overlap. It's not a coincidence that restaurants such as Sweetgreen and T-Bowl are thriving in University City. It's a direct result of their organic ingredients and green practices, as we learned from talking to students around Penn's campus. Many students are now willing to pay a premium for food that is both healthy and comes from sustainable sources. While college students as a whole will always consume cheap, convenient meals, we believe that more will move toward organic food as the number of such restaurants continues to increase.